Alright, so this is my Wheeler Crit weekly update. This is, I guess, the fourth race so far of the season. Last week got canceled because it rained out. So anyway, we got lucky this week. Pretty good weather. It was pretty windy though, windier than I thought. You know, most of the day it seemed pretty calm. I was like, oh, this is gonna be an awesome day to go out there. And once I got out there, I discovered it was pretty hard south wind. So you know, anyway, taking off, just kind of rolling out. Me and Dylan kind of went out and just tempoed it the first couple laps just to get warmed up, and then kind of the attacks and things got going right after that. But yeah, so this week it's kind of weird, different week altogether. You know, typically we'll, you know, it's always just kind of, I don't know, communication-wise. You know, a lot of times it's been, you know, I guess percentage of race versus practice race, and you know, a lot of the regulars that are typically out there were not out there this week. So you know, a lot of guys were trying to get saved up, save the legs for Joe Martin this weekend, which actually starts on Thursday if you're doing the 1-2 race. So yeah, a lot of the regulars worn out. So I don't know, we had quite a few guys on our team there, but I don't know, we'll talk about this at the end. But I don't know, I'd say we definitely on this day underachieved, but you know, it happens, live and learn. Yeah, it was pretty windy. We still had a big turnout. The 4-5 race had another huge turnout. I think we had about 50 riders or so. I don't know how many we had in here, maybe 25, but so I kind of just fast forwarded through. This is kind of here and there, you know, the first 5 or 6 laps of the race. And, but anyway, yeah, kind of getting back to the vibe of how I would say this one definitely kind of, I don't know, the communication was a little mixed throughout the race, but you know, it was more race tactic type style race, you know. That's not really, you know, our team wise, that's not really what we had planned on, but that's just kind of, I guess, what it evolved into, which, you know, not a big deal, not a problem, not complaining about it. But anyway, there's kind of a first little, I kind of tried to cover all the, I don't know, maybe the decisive points in the race. So you know, we're coming up on I don't know, I guess the first one here pretty soon. You know, one thing with the tailwind here, it was, that's definitely, I think, where, you know, it separated a lot of the, you know, a lot of people. If you attack really, you know, right in the tailwind, it's, you know, a guy that has a lot of power, it's hard to, normally, you know, if you're not bridged right up to him, when you hit the wind, it's really hard after that because you're already pretty winded from chasing in the tailwind section with no, you know, you can't really get any kind of draft. So it really, you know, if you're too far back, you're going to get weeded out eventually. So but you know, this is kind of, talk about burning matches. I'll get more into that maybe here in just a bit, but kind of unnecessarily I burned. This is probably my first little mistake. Chased these guys down, burned a pretty good match here, pulling pretty hard into the wind and stuff. And, you know, didn't really need to. I don't know if I just didn't recognize who was up there, but you know, it definitely wasn't a winning move. So I, you know, probably should have just hung back and saved it for a bit later. But you know, anyway, kind of the whole, you know, burning matches, if you're not familiar with that term, it's, you know, basically everybody has a certain amount of efforts, you know, they call it, you know, it could be anywhere from maybe 30 seconds to a minute or two, you know, how many times you can punch it really hard. You know, each time you do that, it's called burning a match. And so everybody's got a certain amount of matches in their match book, and so you know, we had a little gap, so I saw everybody catching back on, so I went ahead and punched it here, burned another match, I guess, you know, and yeah, pretty much got caught pretty quickly after this, but it's just, you know, out there to try to get faster or whatever. So, I don't know, this, rolling along. I think maybe Andy attacks here, and we're coming up into the tailwind section. So yeah, there he goes, surging it up. And when Andy attacks in the tailwind, if you're not right there with him, he's got some big block power, and you better be ready to go. And he'll pull away from you at this point if you're not right there on him, and especially if you don't get up on him coming into the wind. But luckily I got, it was close enough. I got on here and saw what was going on. So I'm sure there was quite a few guys that are getting gradually popped, and you can see, we've already been putting lapped riders down, which I don't know. The whole lapped riders thing is kind of starting to become another topic. I don't know. Not trying to whine too much, but I'll kind of get into that later as I'll talk about how the whole thing went down. But this, I made a pretty big error here. Dylan kind of rolled up, and it looked like Paul, and then Rob went with him. So it's looking pretty good so far. We got two guys, and then there goes looked like Andy and Carter. So that right there in itself, we got 2 on 2 on 1. There goes another guy. I don't know who that was. Eric or I don't know, one of the DNA guys. So basically 2 on 2 on 2. There's another 1 or 2 guys that kind of jumped in, like 3 more. Still pretty good odds. More or less I should have probably just kind of let that go. It's like a couple guys made it up there just in that little group, and some didn't. But I don't know, it's for whatever reason I just wasn't really paying attention to who was up there. If it would have been, I wasn't really so much in racing mode. I was just kind of more in, I don't know, trying to get a hard workout type mode. So I was going to go to bridge up to those guys. So the only problem with that is guys that are in racing mode, they're I had a bunch of guys latched on. So I don't know, punched it right here, and basically towed the field, or not the field, but like probably quite a few of the guys on our on the boat team probably got dropped here, because I don't know. But this is I probably burned 4 or 5 matches right here, punching it into the wind, bridging up to this group, which wasn't super smart. I would say my match book going into today was maybe 20 matches, so that's not super smart to burn that many. It doesn't look like it. I was pretty smoked by the time I bridged up to these guys, so it wasn't a very super smart move, but whatever. So we're rolling along, and the I don't know, I'd say a lot of the guys are starting to get pretty well tenderized here at this point. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, kind of screwed some of my teammates there, but we were all just kind of going out there to start start preparing for the next 6 weeks when the big races start up here. So everybody out here definitely is getting faster, and so if you're not coming out, you're looking to race the Pro-Am in the Tulsa Tough, you're missing out as far as getting some pretty good fitness, that high-end fitness and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, it seemed like a overall pretty hard day, but not super hard. But yeah, I was looking at my power numbers, afterwards, and I set for the year anyway that my hardest from like 20-something seconds up to like 1:45. That whole time period in there was my highest wattage of the year. So I don't know. We must have been going pretty good. But anyway, this is kind of coming up is the I don't know, not the winning move, but the decisive move that kind of separated things. Andy took off there, and so, I'll go and burn another couple matches here, bridging up to him. And then, got a little close here, and then he just, this is where it's like I'm pretty well going all out to try to bridge up to him, and he's just getting smaller actually here. But I kind of set up, because I think just one guy, Carter, had come with me, and I don't know, I didn't really necessarily, I was kind of tired, didn't necessarily want to come to the line and see if he would come around. He wouldn't, so I tried to jump him here and get a little gap on him going into the wind, but that didn't really work. So, it's like Andy kind of had set up a little bit, I think that was probably his intentions to go and set up a little bit, see if he could get, one or two guys there. And so, we catch him, and I'm pretty winded here, but we've got a pretty good gap, and this could have been the winning move, but, there was, I looked back a couple times and didn't really see anybody coming. I guess there was some guys coming there. Andy kind of got up and hit it pretty hard here in the tailwind, so that was pretty painful, but it seemed like we had, I looked back, I know at least at one point we saw that we had a good gap, so, decided to go ahead and just go with this, that I figured this would be the winning move, so I was going to put the effort in to keep it rolling. So I think I, started working it, took a pull or whatever, here in the wind, I don't know, here at some point. Yeah, so, one thing that's important, it's always good to know, what's going on around you all the time, obviously what's going on ahead of you, but what's going on behind you too. And, I don't know, kind of, I should have seen, or sensed that, guys were coming up on us, but, I didn't, but I went ahead and started working it, but it's also important if you go a lap down to know kind of what's going on around you. I know everybody's out there to you paid your money, you're going to ride for your time duration, but when it's guys are coming up behind you pretty quick, you need to know if it's to be ready to get out of the way, so kind of know what's going on. That's just kind of one thing I'd like to basically say. Kind of into the race, we came up on a group of 5 or 6 guys right into the last corner, and I don't know, it definitely probably affected the outcome of the race, but again, not a huge deal. But it's just something, if you're out there, you need to definitely pay attention to what's going on around you and stuff. So anyway, this little group, is me, Carter, and Andy, we're rolling along, and I, pretty much somewhere, around this point, I see that Andy looks back, and I'm pretty well hurting at this point. He punches it, and I'm, it's everything I can to try to stay with him, and you can see him just, riding me off his wheel. And, lo and behold, there's a group of guys, that come through. I see he's kind of sitting up. I'm punching it, just trying to stay with him. But, there's a group of probably, Norman, had brought up, Tony, and I think Paul with him. And so, at this point, I kind of made another crucial mistake of, first thought was, well, I'm definitely outnumbered, so I'm just going to sit on until there's some more guys from, my team get here, and then we can just start, attacking again or whatever, whereas I should have just, stayed up a little further, but You know, these guys are obviously tired from, you know, chasing, and Andy punched it again there on the tailwind, so, you know, he didn't go super hard, but Carter just kind of rode away and took off, and right now was the crucial time that if I wanted to go, I should have gone, but, you know, I didn't. You know, it looked like Dylan had managed to bring it up, but, you know, really our time is, you know, it's evaporating super quick here, and, you know, now it's at the point of if you do jump, you know, you're going to just be towing everybody with you, so, you know, that was basically it right there, the move for first and second, and, you know, it's stuck from here. So, yeah, nothing, you know, wasn't like a super hard attack, you know, that's usually how they'll get away when everybody's super winded and you've got a little bit left, you can just ride away, and sometimes guys will go with you or sometimes nobody will, so, yeah, that was that. And, I don't know, the action for this week is coming up here just a bit. My camera, you know, it's kind of, I don't know if any of you guys have ever looked at it, but it's pretty rigged up the way it's on there, and so anyway, just hitting some of these bumps, you can see here in just a bit that it starts getting kind of cattywampus looking, and, you know, starts to kind of aim towards the ground. I didn't even notice it really at this point, but it's obviously kind of like dangling, you know, hanging down there, and so I don't know, I slow motioned it here when it falls off, but I guess it hit my wheel, and it, you know, it's pretty cool video. It's, I don't know, it kind of looks like when you're crashing, sort of, maybe, I don't know, but anyway, yeah, I thought this video would be a lot shorter because, you know, I edit out so much, but, you know, it was laying there, yeah, just flipped the video around and cut out all the, you know, kind of made a few clips here of us going by, so I don't know, kind of get another little perspective here, but so yeah, anyway, the way the race ended up playing out, there was a group of, I don't know, I guess probably 6 or 7 of us maybe racing for third, and you know, we finally get going, 5 laps to go, start winding it up, and 3 laps to go, Dylan, you know, wants me to get on his wheels, we start rolling and come up on the bell lap, and oh, that was me pointing out my camera. There was a guy taking pictures. I tried to get him to grab it, but, you know, yeah, I guess he didn't see it. But anyway, so, well, we were going, one to go. Paul Pappin punches it, leading Tony out. So we're coming, you know, and just when we're hitting the last corner, we catch a group of guys, and I don't know, I went inside of them, and Tony and Paul went outside of them, but anyway, sprint to the line. It was real close. I didn't know who got what, but I guess I ended up with 4th. You know, I asked Freddie, kind of was getting frustrated with him, and he, you know, he was 100% right. He said, "Well, if you want to make it easy, just, you know, you gotta win by or get the field sprints by a bigger margin." So that's 100% correct. But yeah, anyway, it's a fun race. I think next week's course is going to be different, so I think I'm going to try a little experiment with a different camera mount. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it for this week, and yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.